An average Joe by the name of Stephen Grant works a full-time job at the British Museum of History in London. One night, he falls asleep in his apartment only to wake up to a mysterious cult meeting in the Alps. The leader of the cult, Arthur Harrow, orders Stephen to return an enigmatic scarab, which he inexplicably has in his possession. Before he's able to relieve himself of the relic, a mysterious voice advises him not to. Taking control of the body, he flees. After a harrowing escape, he awakes in his apartment, except 2 days have passed since he fell asleep. He then receives a phone call from a woman known as Layla, who refers to him as Mark Spector. Later that night, he's attacked by a ferocious Egyptian jackal at the museum. His alternate personality, Mark, takes control of the body and assumes a white fighting suit, and he kills the jackal. The next day, Stephen finds the scarab from his dream in a storage unit. Mark then reveals that he is actually the current avatar of the moon god, Khonshu. In an attempt to attain the scarab, Arthur summons another jackal creature. Mark kills the jackal, but Arthur attains the scarab. The scarab leads the cult to Cairo in search of Amit's tomb. With Mark, Stephen, and Layla miles behind them, Khonshu calls for a council with the gods. He accuses Arthur of treason, but the council refuses to believe him and dismisses both from their presence. Layla and Mark then go after a star map that leads to Amit's tomb. It's hidden in a sarcophagus in the city, and after obtaining it, the two head into the desert to decipher it. They examine the map, but discover that it is exactly 2,000 years out of date. Khonshu then uses the power of the moon to turn back the night sky to that specific date, allowing the two to piece together the map. However, the gods are angered by this and imprison the moon god for his actions. The two come upon the tomb and immediately go inside. Upon entering it, they come across a slew of undead Egyptian priests. After escaping their wrath, the two are split up, with Mark discovering the tomb and Layla encountering Arthur, who informs her that it was in fact Mark who murdered her father all those years ago. Upon the meetup of the two in the actual tomb, Mark explains that it was actually his partner that murdered the man, and eventually himself before Khonshu revived him. Seconds later, Arthur arrives and shoots Mark, killing him. Everything goes black before we're suddenly thrust into a psychiatric hospital. The two personalities, which have now been consciously separated into two distinct beings, discover that the hospital is in fact the beginning of the Egyptian afterlife. A strange hippopotamus woman informs them that the hospital is in fact a boat sailing through the Duat. She tells them that if their hearts are determined to be pure, they will be allowed to pass on to the field of reeds. However, if they fail the test, they will be cast off of the boat into the field of the dead. It is then revealed that when he was younger, a mistake made by Mark allowed his younger brother to drown, causing his mother to blame him and actually beat him throughout his childhood. Stephen's personality was created as a coping mechanism for his mother's abuse. Before their hearts can be properly balanced by the truth of the past, the two are attacked by hostile spirits. Stephen is knocked overboard and consumed by the dead, while Mark continues on into the field of reeds. Reeling from the death of her husband Mark, Layla frees Khonshu from his stone prison. Meanwhile, Amit is freed from her tomb by Harrow. Khonshu and Amit battle it out, with Amit easily defeating the moon god. Meanwhile, in the field of reeds, Mark leaves it all behind to save Stephen. The two escape the underworld and emerge back into their body. Layla allows the Hippo woman to use her as an avatar, while Khonshu uses Mark as his. The duo then seals Amit into Harrow's mortal body. Khonshu orders Mark to finally destroy Amit, but he refuses. Days later, Mark frees Harrow from a mental hospital only to kill him. It is revealed that the murderer is in fact Jake Lockley, Mark's vicious third personality. As our story comes to a close, Jake's newly introduced persona rings as a grim reminder that there is so much more to come.